Gamers and gentlefolk, hello and welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series. I'm going to be your host for the evening, The Sound, and I am very excited to bring a divisional final. We're with the Division A 1st seed and 7th seed crit kickers against Came From Behind. This is a best of 5 series between these two. This is actually the first divisional finals that Crit Kickers have made it into in their 3 seasons together. Came From Behind a little bit more seasoned in the postseason. They've also had a fair bit of success thus far in this postseason. They had to reverse their fortunes on 2 previous matchups from the regular season to make it here to the finals. So it should be fireworks as we get into the matches. Let's take a look at the regular season standings just to see how both of our teams finished out here. And we've got Crit Kickers finishing in first place with 34 points, a commanding lead. Very strong performance for the team this season, with Came From Behind kind of squeaking in there with 18 points in the 7th seed, but they've been able to fight through the bracket. You can take a look there to see that they fought through both under noob management and Can't Pause Won't Pause. They've only dropped 1 game thus far in the postseason. Crit Kickers had a little bit of a closer call last semifinal against Magnitude Epicenter, with that series going to a full 5 games. So both teams well warmed up. They've had plenty of time to scout things out, and I'm sure they are excited to face off once again for the pin and all the bragging rights here in Division A. We'll also take a look at our Battleground draft to see where we're headed for Game 1. It's Volskaya Foundry, Crit Kickers as the higher seed opted for map pick rather than first pick, so they've chosen to bring us to they have chosen to bring us to Volskaya Foundry, with bans going out onto Braxis Holdout and Battlefield of Eternity. For Crit Kickers, with Came From Behind banning out Sky Temple and Garden of Terror. For all those tuning in for the finals, glad to have you here. We had the pleasure of hosting the Heroic Division semi-final last night, and we are both up to a final and down to Division A, depending on how you want to measure it. I'm expecting a really competitive series. Their regular season showing wasn't necessarily as straightforward or as competitive as I think we can expect from them this evening. as we get into the draft for Game 1 here on Volskaya Foundry. There are a fair number of heroes to watch out for on both sides. Both teams have had a fair bit of variety in their hero pools and some very unique off-meta picks. Both teams have played Lost Vikings in the season. Both teams have played Stitches compositions, which, of course, is always a strong hero for this battleground, as we see Johanna banned out here first. Came from behind, and an immediate response with the Stitches. Makes perfect sense. Both teams have played the Shambling Horror, and this battleground is just a nightmare for dealing with Stitches compositions. So Crickers don't want to deal with the hook displacement. They'll just get rid of it here in the ban phase. Came from behind could look to ban out Tychus and or Falstad here. Those are some hotly contested picks between both teams. A fair bit of priority on both of those DPS. We'll see the Malthael ban. A bit of a target onto Mojo, as well as his most recent buffs in our current patch. So Malthael in a great spot balance-wise. No reason to give Comfort Hero away. First pick Stukov. This is a hero often banned away from Came From Behind. As we see the Brightwing and Tychus locked in for crit kickers. Alright, Anubarak and Falstad. Immediate response. The Anubarak-Stukov pairing is something that Came From Behind have had a lot of success with thus far in the season. Falstad, as mentioned, a pretty contested pick, so with Tychus snatched up, not surprised to see the Falstad snatched away before this second round of bans. Came From Behind still need an offlaner. I imagine we'll see another ban from crit kickers towards that hero pool. It's going to be Uther instead, so they don't want to deal with any sort of double support shenanigans, which Came From Behind have done before. They did it, in fact, in their regular season match between these two, as we see the Maiev ban as well.
Here we go again.
Grabbing some long-range poke to pair with the short-range burst damage of Tychus. Chromie, an excellent choice, and brings a fair bit of vision control. We'll see Nullius grab the Blaze as well. So last two picks from Came From Behind. They need an offlaner and likely one more damage dealer. We've seen some really interesting picks from Came From Behind. They've had a total of 47 heroes played thus far this season. So a great deal of diversity in their hero pool. More than half of the cast has featured in their series, as we see them lock in the Sonya and Kale Foss. So additional lockdown and some burst damage and a Muradin for crit kickers. Let's have a look at our hero list. Take a look at these drafts and give our teams time to load into the lobby. Muradin, Blaze, Chromie, Brightwing. It's a lot of CC lockdown available to crit kickers. On the other side, Came From Behind do not have the cleanse, so Chromie could go for Temporal Loop. I will say that the dive potential from the front line of Came From Behind is pretty potent, so Chromie going to be under a lot of threat from the Sonya and Anubarak. We should be ready to go here shortly. I can't say that either draft is preferable. It's going to come down to the execution, as it always does. So let's get into game one and see how our teams fare. The number 1 seed taking on number 7. Let's introduce them. Here on the left in blue, we've got crit kickers. IE on Tychus, Godfred on Muradin, Nullius playing Blaze, Icon on Brightwing, and Infinity Meme on Chromie. To the right in red, we've got Came From Behind, Huckett on Kael'thas, Greek Freezer on Stukov, Mojo playing Sonya, Top Gun on Falstad, and Mr. Hustler playing Anubarak as we get to a quick pause. Little bit of a lag moment, it would seem. So hopefully we will be out of that shortly. We'll just kick back here as our teams figure out how they can get their connection more securely locked in. We can give a little more background on these teams while we wait. Crit Kickers are in their 3rd season together. They formed up in season 17 with the roster core of Infinity Meme, i.e. Faint to Parry, and Godfred. They also had an additional season together as Banananums before taking on the Crit Kickers moniker. On the other side, Came From Behind have been together in one form or another since about season 12. And we can take a look at our level 1 talents as well. Time Walker's Pursuit for Chromie. So a lot of vision control for the aspect of time. We've also got Quarterback for Tychus, Mana Addict for Kael'thas, and Frequent Flyer for Top Gun, going for the auto attack level 1 talent. Godfred stepping into the rotation here, just trying to interrupt and slow Came From Behind down a bit. And out of vision engage from Mr. Hustler, immediately caught by Infinity Meme. And Godfred continues to pester these rotations here on the top side. It gives Crit Kickers a lot of room to get a faster clear and a slight advantage in the rotations. With that said, Came From Behind get onto their turret camp a little bit faster. We'll see if there's a little bit of siege damage that they can get done here on top side. Infinity Meme peppering the wall a bit, i.e. taking a fair bit of damage. But they've got the phase shift from Brightwing. Infinity Meme with another time trap. They'll take a fair bit of damage here, and that'll be first blood. Mr. Hustler still finds the stuns that they need. And both teams secure their level 4 talents. It's going to be a full slam build for Mojo on Sonya. We've also got Netherwind for Kael'thas. Huckett able to follow up that CC chain at a much safer distance with the extended range on Netherwind. IE opting for Master Assassin at 4 rather than Bigger They Are or In the Rhythm. Probably one of the more diverse talent tiers for Tychus. And Godfred, I like the level 4, opting for Reverberation. An excellent answer, the additional attack speed slow for the auto attack. And there's an engagement. It's 5v4. Crit Kickers get the drop, but Mojo makes the rotation in. They try and spear, but there's no connection there. Godfred down to about half HP, but with their second wind trait, they'll be able to heal that all back up for free if they stay out of the fight for long enough. First objective unlocks. Neither of our teams are particularly worried about it. Came From Behind have a camp to deal with in top lane. Mojo potentially in a lot of trouble here. Here's the rotation in. Godfred gets the slow. The Polymorph and the Stormbolt will secure the first takedown for Crit Kickers, as well as a little bit of objective progress. Infinity Meme able to steal a quick 18%. That takedown also securing them a slightly earlier level 7. Crit Kickers in control here. Not doubling up on the attack speed slow. We've got Suppressive Fire at level 7 for Nullius on Blaze for spell power reduction. And it looks like we're still working on the one-shot Sonya build with Poison Spear at 7. Burned Flesh at 7 for Huckett as well. So an additional burst of damage if 2 heroes are hit by the Flame Strike. Another potential 5v4. Mr. Hustler gets a great interrupt there. They draw the cleanse from Icon. Still a little bit of an experience advantage. Huckett takes a lot of damage from the Dragon's Breath. Another set of stuns, this time onto Mojo. They're in the Slowing Sands as well. Level 8, big power spike for Chromie. IE very low, Huckett falling low as well. Icon will phase shift in. IE taking a little bit of time to head back to the well. And it looks like Came From Behind are going to have to give the first Protector down about a half level here towards the Heroic Talent tier. And we can see that's due to a lot of missed minion experience. Mr. Hustler may fall here. They've got one more shield, so they're able to escape. Protector recently buffed within the past 2 or 3 patches. Mojo still up here with the rest of the squad, which is giving Nullius a lot of room to push down in bot. And there goes the takedown on the Sonya once again. Heroics just around the corner for Crit Kickers. Nullius able to get through this entire front wall down here in bot lane as well. Well, if it was close. Okay, there we go. The minions were distracted by the trait beetles for a moment. But in the end, Crit Kickers secure front wall in mid and on bot. Came From Behind, trailing still about a half level towards their heroics. On the side of Crit Kickers, we've got an invade onto the siege camp, or the fortification camp, emboldened by their heroics. Speaking of heroics, we've got Commandeer Odin, Avatar, Bunker Drop, Blink Heal, and of course we've already mentioned Slowing Sands. Come From Behind, secure level 10s of their own. We've got Pyroblast into a bunker. Very interesting. Massive Shove, Leap, Gust, and Cocoon. Nullius knows that Came From Behind are off the map, out of vision, so they'll drop back to where it's a little bit safer. That heavy rotation to bot lane gives Crit Kickers the opportunity to get a little bit more free siege damage on a fort front wall. IE pops the Commandeer Odin. Top Gun has scouted Godfred here. They still have the Dwarf Toss, so they'll get out to safety. Mojo scouted with the Slowing Sands. Still a very healthy siege camp here for Crit Kickers, but it looks like they're not too interested in taking the 5v5 on even talent tiers. They're still building small advantages across the battleground, getting every last minion that they can. Still about 2,000 experience ahead on minions. Nullius has the rotational advantage on Mojo. This could be another 5v4. Godfred looks for Huckett. Huckett dodges the Stormbolt. They pop the shield. Nullius eats a fair bit of damage there, but it does draw the Biotic Emitter from Came From Behind, so no major commitments there for Crit Kickers. Just a quick look before Greek Freezer finding 2. They've got Low Blow at level 1, so the time spent in the puddle can be very punishing. The Lurking Arm from Stukov, that is. About a half level away from 13s. IE pops the Commandeer Odin once again, and they set up siege. There's the leap in onto Chromie. This was what we were worried about, and that'll be a takedown quick as you like. Godfred and Nullius are going to be able to retreat, but Came From Behind secure a much-needed takedown. It's going to give them some comeback XP and stall the push on their mid-fort. Godfred scouts the rotation in from Came From Behind. It's a full 5-hero invade, and they'll be able to steal away this turret without any trouble. And we're back at talent tier parity. Is that It Hungers? No, it's Virulent Reaction. So Stukov unlocking a little bit of hard CC of their own. Godfred sees Mr. Hustler in mid lane. So thinks about invading here. They've found Greek Freezer. Oh no, this is a dead Stukov if I had to guess. The Gust might have saved them, however. Dropping the bunker, Godfred hops in. Mojo on the back line with Infinity Meme and Icon. Mr. Hustler falling low here, i.e. can't connect the auto attacks. And after a threatening invade from Crit Kickers, came from behind, are able to get away. They secured the camp and its experience, but they had to drop the turret in their retreat. So no item advantage for either. Oh, I'm sorry. They still hold one turret. Puckett still holding on to one turret. So there is a slight item advantage for Came From Behind, while Crit Kickers secure their first bit of objective progress. Mid fort taking a lot of damage from this wave. I don't think Greek Freezer is going to be able to save it. Nullius throws the Flame Stream and Oil Slick just to ensure that last bit. And so the first structure will fall here at around the 10-minute mark. Mr. Hustler with Burning Beetles getting a little bit of split push and Uberak value. Up to 70% on the objective. Came From Behind don't seem terribly interested in taking the fight over the objective. As I say that, here comes the full 5-hero rotation, i.e. gets the dismount on Mojo. Nullius pushing another wave out in bot lane. Crit Kickers just looking for their level 16 talents before they get another engagement. Came From Behind would love to secure a fight here before the talent tier is out of their favor once again. Nullius just pushing away on bottom fort. Came From Behind will try and incentivize a fight here on the Biotic Emitter, but it's just going to give Godfrey the license to go onto Top Gun here. They dodge the Stormbolt with the barrel roll. Mojo, they've got the leap available. A lot of CC split across the team. IE caught in the root here, but it's not going to be enough. IE still has protection thanks to the time trap from Chromie. Excellent play between those two players. Bot fort almost down, and Nullius is here with level 16s for Crit Kickers. Phase out for Brightwing. So another form of Ice Block for dodging the Pyroblast. Alright, IE pops the Odin. Doesn't really want to get into the Protector with Odin available. And so Crit Kickers, after securing the objective, are going to choose to soft Vanilla Siege with their heroics instead. Came From Behind have found talent tier parity once again. Super Strain for Greek Freezer. It's going to help with any CC lockdown that Came From Behind have been dealing with. We've also got Fury of the Sunwell for Puckett, the double Flame Strike. Here comes the rotation in from Nullius. Mr. Hustler taking a lot of damage once again. Crit Kickers get through the top fort and put a lot of pressure onto the two front or back line here. The Slowing Sands will not catch any. Mojo leaps in with the rest that Came From Behind on the retreat. Top Gun chasing onto IE, but Tychus is going to be able to escape. So all of the outer structures down for Came From Behind. Crit Kickers putting on an excellent macro show here on Volskaya Foundry. Not taking any outnumbered or even-numbered team fights. Pushing when they've got advantages in any spare lane. We can see how they got those 34 points in the regular season and came into the postseason as the #1 seed. Came From Behind, far from out of it, however. The takedown count still 2-2. But Came From Behind really needs to start turning these takedowns into some concrete structure damage. Of course, come level 20, they've got a lot of strong tools at their disposal. Top Gun will unlock, most likely, Wind Tunnel, Huckett, the flamethrower, will be able to do damage at a much safer range, as well as a fair bit more survivability for Mojo on Sonya. Unless, of course, they go for the lockdown option of Ariat's Crater, the Leap upgrade, another viable 20. Level 18's online for Chromie, so she's already got her Storm talent. Unraveling, a really strong talent. The Spell Armor Shred makes every single spell from every single teammate hit like a truck, taking double damage from spell sources within 1 second of standing in the Slowing Sands. It's really punishing. And Crit Kickers are happy to play it safe here. They're just a half level away from Storm talents for the rest of their team. Came from behind, need to take a fight pre-20 unless they want to turtle for a full level. But Crit Kickers are staying elusive, keeping out of vision, keeping at a safe distance. Mid-wave and bot wave just round the corner for Crit Kickers towards 20 and the Storm talent tier. And there you have it. 30 seconds until this fortification camp unlocks, and I imagine we'll see them beeline it for bot keep towers. They've got Big Red Button, Rewind, Fortified Bunker, Pixie Dust, and the aforementioned Unraveling. Up Storm talents, I'm a little surprised to see Crit Kickers playing it as passively as they are. They've fallen back to Protector Control Point C. It's giving Came From Behind the opportunity to find talent tier parity more or less for free, rather than pressing their advantage with their long-range siege composition. Mid-wave will be coming into them soon. Came From Behind will also push out this camp, which should help alleviate the periodic catapult pressure they've been facing in top lane. Up to 70% on the Protector already, but Came From Behind have secured Storm talents of their own. We've got Flamethrower, One Good Spread, is that what that is? Top Off. Ariat's Crater, Wind Tunnel, and Rewind. So they're going to get some free damage on the Protector here, with Crit Kickers far more interested in that top lane camp. Now they're in a bit of an awkward position. Mojo probably has to commit the leap to get out of here. A lot of lockdown from the Protector. Mojo has to burn the Ariat's Crater just to escape. Of course, one of the benefits of the upgrade is the cooldown reduction. And I'll say, having played against Crit Kickers in an off-season tournament, no one I know does more damage with the Protector. So it doesn't necessarily feel like a team fighting objective for most teams, but Crit Kickers make it count. Of course, with how much damage it took for free, they're not going to get a lot of siege out of it. There's the double stun, a great Wind Wall from Top Gun. The silence takes out IE. Godfred locked in, as is Nullius. They've already popped the bunker. Top Gun continuing to chase on. Nullius gets the stun. Mr. Hustler still looking for one more set of CC. Nullius will fall. 4 takedowns, 2 in this engagement. Both for Came From Behind, and I expect to see them set up and get a little bit of siege here. They've got Anubarak trait beetles and a fair bit of auto attack damage from Top Gun, up to 62 stacks on their level 1 frequent flyer. Combine that with Huckett's flamethrower at level 20 and they'll be able to hit. Oh my god, the unraveling! Holy cow! Huckett and friends are going to have to retreat. Mr. Hustler pops like the Little scarab they are. Holy cannoli. And that is the power of the armor shred on the slowing sands. Jeez. And that's into a tank that's supposed to be really good in dispel damage, friends. Oh, what a great leap! Oh, and they find Brightwing. They're able to lock them down for too long. They couldn't get a blink target out. Came from behind, firing back here. They don't have the most sturdy front line with Sonya for stepping up and sieging. Mojo doesn't check the bush. Godfred finds Sonya. They're able to drop the biotic emitter. IE will stand on the time trap and save themselves once again. Infinity Meme taking so much damage there. Fury of the Sunwell, an unexpected level 16 for some. They committed the... what did they commit for that? Gust and Pyroblast. Pyroblast not getting as much value as I think Huckett would like here. But man, Unraveling really putting a lot of hurt onto Came From Behind. The armor shred just stacks up so quickly. Might be worth another check in the balance. Next balance patch. I think it's minus 20 every... or minus 10 every 0.25 seconds. And the first minus 10 applies instantly. So 1 second in and you're at minus 50 spell armor. I think they could tone that down by half and it would still be very powerful. Map pressure once again in favor of Crit Kickers. Mojo trying to sidestep the Stormbolt. They get the leap in onto the... oh my god! They couldn't press any buttons. Mojo falling low, i.e. laying into them there with the minigun. Mr. Hustler finds a couple stuns there. Infinity Meme had the timeout, but it's not going to be enough. Icon might be able to get them out here. It's not, in fact. There's the phase out from Icon. But it's another set of takedowns in favor of Came From Behind. As the name of their team might imply, they are comfortable staying in these games as they go later and later. They've got the ironclad mental that you would want for a team that's made its way to the divisional finals. They'll secure their first fort while Mojo tends to the macro concerns in mid and bot lane. Still 30 seconds before Brightwing and Chromie are back on the battleground. But IE with Big Red Button is a pretty strong deterrent. I imagine we'll see Came From Behind get onto the mid fort here. This one lone siege camp, long forgotten. Got through a keep tower. Alright, Chromie back on the battleground, as is Brightwing. Came From Behind secured a fort and a fort front wall. That fort front wall, not a bad get given the objective positioning. Neither team has put too much emphasis on the objective thus far, but Crit Kickers have benefited from the Protector push the few times it's been available to them. They'll get the first few points of progress here as well. Godfred positioning very safely. Came From Behind still have catapults pushing against them in bot lane. So Crit Kickers aren't in a hurry to take the team fight. Instead, they'll put more pressure on top lane, back up, collect waves, push things out, continuing to preserve their macro advantages where they can. Mr. Hustler will back up after securing a quick 44%. And we've got the potential for the 5v5. There's IE popping Commandeer Odin. Came From Behind, back up a bit. They drop the turret, but it's going to get gunned down by Crit Kicker's turret. And it looks like they're unwilling to fight into the Commandeer Odin. Instead, they're going to send Mojo up to top lane. The rest that came from behind will work on this biotic emitter camp. Chromie is in bot lane. I don't think Crit Kickers are going to get the opportunity to contest here. Godfred throws the Stormbolt, but there's no engagement. Up to 97%. We're officially into overtime now. Lane pressure is against Came From Behind. They're on a bit of a timer. Bot keep will eventually start to take damage. Turret camp up in 40 seconds for Crit Kickers. This is where Top Gun having a global is going to be a boon for Came From Behind. Mr. Hustler dodging that Stormbolt, that's a big deal. They draw the biotic emitter nonetheless. A full team reveal from Infinity Meme, thanks to their Ton Walker's Pursuit. And this might be the team fight. We're in overtime on both sides. Mr. Hustler onto 2, i.e. in retreat with the full spell shield. They're in the bunker. Bunker not in the best position for the fight over the point, but they've got another opportunity for the Odin, but it gets caught in the Ariet's crater, i.e. potentially in a lot of trouble. Top Gun taking so much damage from Godfred. There's the rewind, and Falstad will fall. There's Sonya next. Huckett in a lot of trouble. Nilius finds Mr. Hustler with the jet propulsion, some body blocks into the unraveling. Huckett tries to look for the turnaround kill, but it's not going to be enough. 3 takedowns in favor of Crit Kickers. They'll secure the 4th Protector and likely the game here. Protector on A prime is very powerful. Hits structures like a truck. And they've got a little bit of early siege thanks to the time traps from Chromie. Godfred gets the first stun onto Mr. Hustler. There's the root from Greek Freezer, but it's not going to be enough to take down the Muradin. Still 20 seconds until the respawns come in from Came From Behind. And without any damage dealers alive, they're not going to be able to shred through the Protector before it eats through the core, and that'll be it for Game 1. GG and well played to Crit Kickers, putting on an absolute show here on their Battleground selection of Volskaya Foundry. And that is the sort of macro play that I would expect out of this team based on the scouting I did for them. It's not always a very high kill count game, but they do come out on top. And so playing it cautiously, getting those side lanes definitely came in clutch in putting them in the driver's seat for the early phases of the game. Came From Behind did a solid job coming from behind for the most part, but in the end, Crit Kickers secure the last important team fight win, with the unraveling from Chromie being the major difference maker. Infinity Meme top of the charts for hero damage. Nilius eking out about 2,000 more experience than Mojo for the offlaners. We can also take a look at our builds here before we get prepared for our second battleground. Godfred on Muradin looking very strong. IE didn't even need to go for the Neosteel coating at 13. One of the better spell shields in the game. No need for it with Brightwing picking up the greater spell shield at 13. What's that called? Pixie Power. And of course, Infinity Meme, excellent time traps to put IE out of danger. Some strong play on both sides. So let's head over to our Battleground selection to see where we might be headed for Game 2. I'm predicting a Towers of Doom pick. Crit Kickers have played a fair number thus far of games on the Battleground thus far this season. But they haven't had the most success on it, so they favor it, but it's not been looking great for them. Came From Behind may have scouted that out. And so if they opt for map pick, I would expect to see a Towers of Doom selection. And it looks like they got the same script that I did. Came from behind, opting for Battleground selection and taking us to Towers of Doom. Towers of Doom, a tricky one to manage from the draft side because Crit Kickers have played the Lost Vikings thus far this season. This is a really tough map to deal with TLV on. So hopefully Came From Behind have a solution up their sleeve for that sort of shenanigans. If you tuned in midway through Game 1, welcome. Happy to have you. We are one game into our best of 5 for the Division A Finals with the Seed 1 Crit Kickers taking on Seed 7 Came From Behind. And if Game 1 is any indication, we are going to continue to see some really strong team fights and fireworks throughout the evening. Last night, for the Heroic Division semifinal, we went to a full 5 games. I'm hoping we are all lucky enough to get the same tonight here in the finals. And be sure to cheer on whichever team you want to see win. It's always a lot of fun to go back and watch the VOD, see your friends cheering you on, as we see another Stitches ban come out from Crit Kickers here. Came From Behind. They had a lot of trouble dealing with Chromie post 20. We'll see if they adjust their ban strategy here. Chromie pretty strong on this battleground as well with her ability to stall objectives. We'll see a Dahaka ban first instead. And there's the Malthael ban, keeping the same 2 from Game 1. They don't want to see what a Malthael main looks like with the Malthael buffs. Can't say I blame them. Oku calling for a 3-hour cast. We got to 3 hours last night, so we might be able to make it to a 3 hours tonight as well. And the Anduin ban stays the same. So this is the first opportunity Crit Kickers have to kind of define the draft, set up the first pick priority. They're going to keep the Brightwing. This gives Came From Behind the option of Tychus or Falstad. They traded it last time with Crit Kickers. It remains to be one of the more tightly contested pairings between these two. And Tychus is the preference. Pairing that once again with the Stukov. Last 2 choices here before second ban. They could pick away the Varian. Varian has a good matchup into Tychus, and it denies the Stukov-Varian combo. I don't know if they've got much practice on Varian. We could also see an offlane preference. We'll pick up the Chromie before it gets banned away, and a Leoric. Bit of an early Leoric pick in my mind, but far be it from me to tell the higher divisions how to draft. Alright, so they still get the Johanna ban, as we saw in Game 1. Crit Kickers, last time around, they banned out the Uther with Came From Behind already securing a healer. We'll see if they're still worried about the double support threat. Came From Behind are very role flexible as well, so just because they've got Huckett and Greek Freezer on Stukov and Tychus doesn't strictly mean that those are the folks who will finally be playing it. As we see the Varian ban come out, they don't want to deal with the King of Stormwind, with everyone's favorite infested admiral, Samuro and Uther. So it is double support, as well as the Samuro pick. Last two choices here, Crit Kickers. I would love to see them pick up the fall stat themselves and try and apply split pressure across the map. Came from behind, want to group up and team fight. They'll go with Anubarak and Greymane instead. Still a really strong pair for pushing through structures. And there is the Kel'Thuzad, a bit of a came from behind special. Let's take a look at our draft for game number 2. All right. Who do we have here? Kel'Thuzad. I never know about Kel'Thuzad, friends. It could be the special sauce they need. I know it's a strong comfort pick for Came From Behind. But it always seems like such a feast or famine hero. Hard to say, hard to say. All right. It's all going to come down to execution. I say it every time. I mean it every time. Let's get into the game and see how it all shakes out. We can introduce our teams again. Once again, we've got Crit Kickers, IE on Greymane, Godfred playing Anubarak, Nolius on Leoric, Icon on Brightwing, and Infinity Meme playing Chromie. To the right, looking to get on the board, we've got Came From Behind, Top Gun on Uther, Mr. Hustler on Kel'Thuzad, Greek Freezer on Stukov, Mojo on Samuro, and Huckett playing Tychus. So we see that role swapping that I'd alluded to in the draft. Mr. Hustler was on the Anubarak game 1, on the Kel'Thuzad now. They get their first stack of Master of the Cold Dark. We've got other quests here. Top Gun opting for Hammer of the Lightbringer at level 1. And we're going to see the wave clear advantage going in favor of Crit Kickers, likely for most of the early game here. They're tending to their waves a little bit more quickly, and they don't want to stick around and fight. The 4v4 definitely an advantageous position for Came From Behind. A bunch of damage onto Mojo there in mid lane. Crit Kicker's a little bit slower to their first Sapper camp. We'll see if Came From Behind look for the invade. It's not going to be timely. And so both teams trade their Sappers. Godfred sneaking up on the side there. Top Gun taking a lot of damage here. But it's the Anubarak who falls first. First blood going over Came From Behind. All of that healing throughput from the double support, getting Top Gun out of trouble. Up to 3 stacks on Master of the Cold Dark. And level 4s in their hands. Came From Behind, off to a red hot start here in game number 2. What do we have? Phylactery of Kel'Thuzad, well met for Uther, deflection for Samuro. Samuro has a pretty strong early game matchup into Leoric. So we'll see Mojo pestering Nolius there on the off lane. Of course, the advantage that Nolius has is that his team is better equipped to pick up another lane. Ooh, Godfred caught here in the rotation, i.e. positioning safely. Another stack for Kel'Thuzad, and a slight experience advantage here, thanks to that hero takedown and structure damage. Time trap onto Top Gun. It's a lot of damage. They still have the armor from their trait. Godfred has to back up, and they secure the kill onto Uther. Mojo gets an early channel there on the top objective. Mr. Hustler finding another couple stacks, up to 9 on Master of the Cold Dark. They don't unlock the Glacial Spike until 15, I believe. Mojo potentially in a lot of trouble here. They use the Q, but they still have... Oh, Godfred over the wall. They get the double stun. IE has the chase. They're able to go into melee, or out of melee, and lock down the Blade Master for another kill. So an early level 7 for Crit Kickers. IE opting for the potentially greedy Wizened Duelist. Increasing your damage output is definitely one of the ways that you can try and punch through all of the double support sustain. So not the worst strategy if you're able to keep your stacks alive. Another 4 stacks on Master of the Cold Dark. IE falls. Godfred draws the phase shift. And now Nullius is the target. They still have the Wraith Walk available. Mojo going to land a few more auto attacks there. We've got Cleanse online for Top Gun. Critical Mist for Right Wing. That's another big power spike. At level 8, we've gone for Temporal Loop once again. And Top Gun finishes out their level 1 Hammer of the Lightbringer. It's a big power boost. They can now get a lot of cooldown reduction on their stun every time they auto attack. A strong 4v4 push. First camp was dealt with relatively easily thanks to the slowing sands, as the next objective spawns here in bot lane. A slight rotational advantage for Came From Behind. They want to take these fights. Mojo in on the backline, IE trading heavily. They'll draw the phase shift as well. An easy channel secured by Came From Behind, while Nullius in mid lane just collects a little bit more experience, putting them ahead towards the Storm talent, or the Heroic talent here. Crit Kickers just want to slow Came From Behind down on this camp, try and let their minions hit the bot fort wall a bit. The double support is good in team fights and not as good on the map, and so it's a smart play to position carefully, try and threaten and invade without overcommitting. There's the heroics and the commitment in. They wrap the Uther, but they escape. They commit the Entomb as well. Top Gun's still mostly full HP, and so after an up heroic engagement and 2 heroics committed, Crit Kickers come out no better than before. It's going to be an advantage for Came From Behind. They're going to get 10s of their own here. And knowing that 2 heroics are missing for Crit Kickers, we could see them look to engage now. What do we have? Go for the Throat, Cocoon, and Tomb. Blink Heal. We've also got Divine Storm. Okay, and they find Chromie. They've got the timeout. D-Storm out, and they instantly pop. Mojo in a lot of trouble. IE getting whacked to bits by the Samuro. One more chain from Mr. Hustler, up to 26 stacks now on Master of the Cold Dark. Mojo will channel this objective and put Came From Behind ahead on core shots. They'll likely secure this bottom altar as well, bringing them to a total of 8 core HP removed, and Crit Kickers down to 24 core HP. What other heroics do we have? Shadow Fisher, Massive Shove, Blade Storm, and the Commandeer Odin comes out. Top Gun running in, looking for the stun. They find it onto IE. Godfred engages. IE very low already, but they get the go for the throat, and they're able to escape. Nullius comes in, doesn't find any with the Entomb. And so it's one takedown, and it looks like that's where they'll stay. Kel'Thuzad immediately buys back with the Phylactery of Kel'Thuzad. So they lose their spell power boost, but they also don't spend any time waiting for the respawn. They don't want to give Came From Behind or Crit Kickers too much time with a power play. Level 13's just around the corner for Crit Kickers. We can see that's thanks to their minion experience advantage once again. Up to 13 stacks on Wizened Duelist already, not bad. And it's an auto attack build for Leoric with Spectral Leech, Unfettered Assault for Greymane, Time Out, nothing out of the ordinary here. Came From Behind just around the corner from level 13s of their own. Looks like they're not going to position too aggressively here. Time Walker's Pursuit getting the scout out onto Top Gun. And both teams do the handshake trade. I say that, but Nullius gets stalled by the Shadow Fisher. One more stall, and now Mojo gets another. Mid lane got pushed out. There's the time trap onto a couple. Huckett in full retreat here. With a few heroics committed, it looks like Came From Behind are willing to back up here. One more Shadow Fisher onto Nullius to keep the stall going. And that'll do it. Alright, so 28-20 now. Still trailing by 8. Crit Kickers are only narrowly ahead on the experience front now. Bot Fort taking a fair bit of damage here. And Top Gun finds Godfred. There's the double stun into the instant Kel'Thuzad combo. i.e. Dark Flight's in, but has to immediately retreat with the Razor Swipe. I imagine that'll be another camp steal for Came From Behind. They'll make quick work of the Sapper camp. Infinity Meme and friends don't want to test their luck. They'll scout it out with Time Walker's Pursuit, but no reason to get frisky. Not while Anubarak is still in the grave for another 5 seconds. Bot Fort almost all the way down now. Came From Behind would get a big experience boost from this building conversion. Towers of Doom, the only battleground where you can still get chunk XP from structures. And here's the rotation from Nullius. Stuns on to the Tychus. Polymorph as well. Huckett will fall. The double go for the throat. Mr. Hustler in a lot of trouble. Nullius uses the Entomb just for assurances. Top Gun body blocked to all get out, and that's another takedown. 3 unanswered in the team fight for Crit Kickers. They lost their bottom structure, but they stand to gain a lot of core HP here. They are likely to play the aggressive side. Yeah, we see IE rotating onto Mojo. I would expect Greymane to trade advantageously here. No lockdown to keep Samuro in place. But 2 objectives channeled for Crit Kickers. The infinite stall from the Kel'Thuzad could be problematic. Mojo, Shikuchi's out. We've got level 16s on both sides. Benediction for Top Gun. Huckett has even more zoning potential now that they've popped the Odin. Crit Kickers going to leave well enough alone, and they'll eat 5 more core HP down to 15 now, as this bottom bell tower still belongs to Came From Behind. Greymane will make quick work of that, especially with 26 stacks of Wizened Duelist. Came From Behind make the rotation here, but it's a little bit slow, and so this fort is all but done and dusted. Infinity Meme able to get themselves the timeout. And there's the Cocoon. They're in onto Huckett. Great massive shove from Greek Freezer. But Top Gun is deep in enemy territory now. The fort is no longer in their possession. Mojo makes the rotation in. All right. So we are safe. It's still a full level advantage for Crit Kickers towards the Storm talent tier. They've got more heroic takedowns and more minion XP. So Came From Behind really have to make these pre-20 fights count. The silence on to Greymane, a big set of stuns, but they lose their Uther. Uther gets a lot more healing, but I think they would have preferred to have more of his CC before he left. And Unraveling is online once again for Infinity Meme. It was truly punishing in Game 1. The name Unraveling, very apt for the talent. Came From Behind are able to get through the Sappers, so no additional threat to their bottom fort, but they're likely going to have to give up this next objective. Huckett, so far ahead of the team. That's a dead Tychus for sure. Especially with the Unraveling. Oh man, they pop the Odin for the Unstoppable, but it's not going to be enough. Mojo in onto Infinity Meme. The timeout. Now Icon taking a lot of damage. Mojo chopping through all of them. Samuro ends up getting the double kill. IE falling low here. The silence. IE zoned out. So, Came From Behind, win the team fight, lose the objective, but Godfred is going to fall here, I would expect. Absolutely a huge play from Mojo in that team fight. Samuro chopping through the backline of Crit Kickers, and those takedowns plus this keep are going to be much of the comeback experience that Came From Behind need to take the lead towards the Storm talent here. Wow, wow, wow. So 15 to 18, core still relatively healthy for both sides. Came From Behind are going to apply additional pressure to the structures. Crit Kickers down to about half HP on their mid keep, but they've left IE unattended on the keep, almost fully stacked on Wiz to-do list. And they've opted for Tooth and Claw at level 20. Speaking of 20s, we've also got the Holy Hurricane, Redemption. Nope, it's Redemption. It's a respawn. That makes sense. Might of the Scourge, sure. Top off. Windstrider. There's the Cocoon. Mr. Hustler stands on point. Oh my gosh, an instant blow up onto the Tychus. There's another takedown. This time onto Brightwing. IE catches the Uther, but he's going to respawn here. Huckett in a lot of trouble. Cleanse still available for Top Gun. They get the stun onto IE, and that's a takedown that I think Crit Kickers are going to regret. Greek Freezer gets the channel before bot Bell Tower gets converted. So Came From Behind now with the Pumpkins in bot lane. Can threaten to end. The silence with low blow. Oh, Huckett tries to play for the advantage. They just need to get one more sapper in. They don't, in fact, need to get one more sapper in, because I can't do math. Boths will end the game here. The respawns aren't going to be in time for Crit Kickers to really contest this. Mojo already getting started with the rest of Came From Behind, making the rotation in. Crit Kickers are going to have to contest this 3v5, because it is certain death if they don't. Godfred burrow charges in, a huge silence entomb. There's the... Oh my gosh, they do it? Holy cow! They steal the boss away. They get 2 takedowns onto the supports. Mojo chopping through Infinity Meme once again, but Crit Kickers stand the ground. They stay alive. What in the world? I did not expect that to work out, but the phase shift in from Brightwing, the silence and tomb from Nullius, and all of the damage from Infinity Meme were the difference maker there in that team fight. We have ourselves a game 2, folks. 4 core HP and a dream. Crit Kickers still on the back foot, but feeling like they are in control with a power play on the battleground. Huckett instantly blows up thanks to the Unraveling. Godfred caught here. They don't have any spell armor, but they've got a Bright Wing to get them out of dodge. And the Kel'Thuzad heroics keep flying. So it's going to be another 5 core HP shaved off from Came From Behind, bringing them down to 10. IE stands in the stands in the stall. All right, enough folks are channeling, and they didn't stand still. So finally, the conversion comes through. Mojo's been busy in top lane, and they'll finish off the top keep, though not before those shots went into Came From Behind's core. All right, IE back to doing their favorite thing on Greymane, hitting structures. Still 15 stacks on Wisdom's Duelist, despite the death. And so the map a little bit inverted, with top keep going over to Came From Behind, while bottom keep gets flipped by Crit Kickers. Came From Behind are in position to defend the Sapper camp, which means that Crit Kickers are happy to get started on the mid keep as well. And this is the benefit of the Anubarak Greymane combo. They can just run up to any structure once Came From Behind show themselves on the map and get to work. There's the Entomb in the Unraveling. Stukov blows up instantly. Uther still has Benediction available. They'll use the Heroic. Redemption is back off cooldown, so they'll only lose one. It's still going to be a tough contest. I don't think they're going to make a play for it. Instead, getting back their mid-keep. So it's going to be another 4 shots for Crit Kickers, most likely, bringing Came From Behind down to 4 core HP. Boss isn't up for another 2 minutes. So Crit Kickers still have plenty of space to maneuver as far as their core HP is concerned. Came From Behind get through this keep, but not before the shots come through. So core HP now 4 to 6. Came From Behind still slightly ahead. Mojo gets through a fair bit of the mid keep as well. There's the respawn from Came From Behind, back to full fighting force. 5v5 with Buried Alive, I think might be to Crit Kickers' advantage. Mojo in onto the back line. Icon caught here. Oh, an instant blow up onto the right wing. That is bad news. Godfred taking a lot of damage. They'll have to burrow charge to safety. IE getting chased down here. Another combo from Mr. Hustler, and IE will fall. Godfred low, as is Infinity Meme. Mojo finishing the kill off. Can they get a few more auto attacks? Mr. Hustler lands the chain, but there's no targeted chain too. Woo! Came From Behind, taking it to Crit Kickers. Boss in 30 seconds. They won a boss steal down heroes before, but I don't know if Crit Kickers are going to manage it again. Not to mention, Came From Behind might just secure the 6 cap here. This is a checkmate scenario for Came From Behind. Crit Kickers reeling after that last fight, and so the 6 cap is complete. We will likely see the game end even before these altars spawn. 1 shot, that's the second. The third will ring out from the Gravekeeper's core, and with our teams channeling on both altars, the last shot comes in from Gravekeeper's 6 cap. Came From Behind to do it in a spectacular fashion, coming from behind, as their name implies, for the win in Game 2. GG and well played. The double support composition looking pretty strong from Came From Behind. Crit Kickers, I wouldn't have expected, had many of the tools that they needed to deal with it early. Anubarak, not the best tank for going into a double support composition, but once they got to 20s with Buried Alive, it was a lot closer. Even so, Mr. Hustler on Kel'Thuzad seemed to be a big difference maker in those late game team fights. Mojo, top of the charts for hero damage, but we can chalk that up to mostly spending a lot of the early game smacking Leoric as frequently as possible. I will say the Samuro on the backline was a lot more threatening than I would have expected. With Brightwing available to polymorph, I would have thought that the flank from Samuro wouldn't necessarily be as spooky, but Mojo got a lot of work done there in the late game team fights as well. There was that double kill on the Sapper camp that sticks out in my mind. So there you have it. We've got ourselves a series, friends, and we are in a great position as we look towards Game 3. We can take a look at our battlegrounds once again. All right. 14 to 14 in takedowns. So relatively even there. And man, with the Tychus armor at level 7, the Uther armor just because of his trait, Super Strain from Greek Freezer, they had a lot of survivability on Came From Behind. No real true percent damage for crit kickers outside of Leoric, with IE opting for Lord of his Pack at level 16 rather than Alpha Killer. Towers of Doom also a really solid battleground for the double support composition. I'd be interested if... It seems like battleground selection is the priority pick between these two teams. So with that in mind, we still have Dragonshire in the map pool. We still have Cursed Hollow in the map pool. These are battlegrounds that really reward the split macro focus that I think crit kickers really highlighted their prowess on in Game 1. So I'd expect them to take us to one of those battlegrounds. Not sure if there is a particular preference between them, but for my money, if you're going to double support, I think Cursed Hollow is probably the best choice. But Dragonshire, of course, can reward split pressure just as well. If you tuned in midway through Game 2, welcome. Happy to have you. I'm your host, The Sound. If you are enjoying the broadcast and want to see more like it, you can follow me at my channel. That's twitch.tv/thesound51. I'm live very sporadically throughout the NGS season. So as we are coming to the end, it's maybe a little weird to plug my Twitch, but come drop by, give a follow. We enjoy all of the support that NGS brings. Okie doke. And it looks like we are headed to Dragonshire. Oh, no, that's not Dragonshire. Sorry, friends. Dragonshire, as selected by Came From Behind. So a bit of a surprise with how comfortable they looked on a double support composition. I wouldn't think of Dragonshire as a priority battleground. And in their regular season matchup, Crit Kickers got a heavy advantage over Came From Behind there on this very battleground, pulling out a Lost Vikings composition. So we'll see if Came From Behind have something else in the sauce, something cooked up and ready. already off to a better start than their regular season matchup. It was a pretty decisive 2-0 in favor of Crit Kickers. Talking to the teams pre-game, came from behind, are really looking for redemption after their postseason last year. They were the first seed going into the postseason of Division A, but were eliminated in the first round. So now that they're here in the finals, they want to kind of right that wrong of history and take it all the way to the end. So let's head over to the draft for Game 2 on Dragonshire. I'd expect a Lost Vikings ban. We haven't seen any attention, and it's gone. Womp womp. I'd expect a Lost Vikings ban. We haven't seen any priority on it in the series yet, but as mentioned, in the regular season, Crit Kickers had a lot of success with TLV on this battleground. Alright, looks like we're back into the draft, so we should be fine. So let's head back over. Came from behind also have some pocket picks. We've seen Mojo pick Zeratul, which is not the worst answer for a TLV offlane because of how much kill pressure they apply. We'll keep the Stitches ban the same, say Crit Kickers. We'll see if Came From Behind make that TLV adjustment, or if they're happy to try and pick the Vikings off one by one instead. We've seen Anduin, we've seen Johanna, and we've seen the Dahaka ban before. And this time, the Stukov ban. Alright. So, Stukov, definitely one of the better supports for a double healer composition. Keeping the Anduin ban the same. So, I think that's a great adaptation for Crit Kickers to make. They'll be the first pick Tychus team this time round. Tychus has been a difference maker. Okay, Oriel, another strong hero for double support. And a snatch on the Johanna. So unlikely to be a double healer composition. Oriel was nerfed in the most recent patch, but I've seen a lot of folks continuing to play the Angel of Hope. She probably still in a good balance position. Chromie and Malfurion. So lots of vision control with Moonfire, Time Traps, and Time Walker's Pursuit. Infinity Meme has gotten a lot of value out of that level 1 thus far in the series. And there's the TLV ban. Crit Kickers didn't want to pick it before the second ban phase, and so they won't have the chance. Johanna and Oriel picked up, I would expect, an offlane ban. It's been Malthael every time. Falstad instead, okay. So those hotly contested picks no longer available for Came From Behind. We'll see how they round out their draft in the second round here. We need an offlaner as well as some damage dealers. Phoenix and Hanzo, both solid choices for a safe hero to contest bottom lane in a more rotational style. Phoenix can also be transitioned to the off lane. I believe Mojo plays off lane Phoenix too, so a very flexible choice or Came From Behind, as we'll see the Muradin and Sonya locked in for Crit Kickers. Last pick for Came From Behind. Could be an offlaner, could be a different flex pick with the Phoenix taking up offlane. Came From Behind, one of the widest hero pools in all of NGS. So they have many different looks that they can show us. Alright, the first game that Malthael is available and Mojo snatches it up. Alright, let's take a look at these drafts as our teams get ready for Game 3. Tychus Chromie have looked really strong for crit kickers. Every time they've gotten the Chromie damage onto a target in the late game, they blow up. Oriole, of course, has an answer for that with Crystal Aegis. But Crystal Aegis has a much longer cooldown than Slowing Sands. In the early game, the vision control that crit kickers have, I think, is to their advantage. I like their draft a little bit better for the Battleground, but it could go either way. As we've seen, both of these teams very evenly matched. So let's see how the game plan unravels here on Dragonshire. We've got IE on Tychus, Godfred playing Muradin, Travis Party on Malfurion, so a swap out for crit kickers, Nullius on Sonya, and Infinity Meme on Chromie. To the right, we've got Came From Behind, Mr. Hustler on Hanzo, Top Gun on Phoenix, Huckett on Oriole, Mojo on Malthael, and Greek Freezer playing Johanna. We see the reveal from Taiwan Walker's Pursuit. Level 1 for Phoenix is Mobile Offense. On a Pale Horse for Malthael. Hanzo has yet to pick a level 1. Emerald Dream. So Sleep en route. A lot of damage on the Mr. Hustler there. Picks up Redemption at level 1. A little bit of an early wave clear advantage for the crit kickers. And that's kind of been their MO at the beginning of every game. They've done a great job pushing those waves out early, getting an advantage, i.e. showing on mid lane while Mojo makes the rotation. Godfred scouting, threatening a bit here on the right side siege camp while crit kickers start up the left side siege camp. Mojo's commitment to the mid lane means that Sonya gets a little bit of damage on top wall there. Level 2 unlocked. We've got Endoral Anomaly for Chromie. More time traps more often. IE, Travis Party, and Infinity Meme getting through the Bruiser camp with all haste. Gives Came From Behind the opportunity to escort their Siege Giants into the wall here, as well as get started on the bot side Bruiser camp. The reveal from Chromie only finds Greek Freezer. A little bit slow on the camp. We see the reveal from the Sonic Arrow. Godfred finds the stun, and that's first blood onto the Phoenix. With the time trap as well, it's a double Bruiser camp play for crit kickers, off to a red hot start with level 4 talent here on both sides. Nullius doesn't trade particularly well into Mojo here in the early game, especially with the level 4 die alone. Mojo continues to put a lot of pressure onto Sonya's HP pool. Top Gun rotating in aggressively there, but with no pressure on the Sun Shrine. Came From Behind are pretty comfortable positioned here in bot lane. Down about a half level. I expect that's due to the takedowns and a fair bit of minion experience missing as well. They're dropping a mid-wave while Mojo works on this top bruiser camp. And now it's double alter channel in favor of crit kickers. Godfred gets the jump onto Mr. Hustler. IE connects with the minigun. Huckett used the dope rope of Nope. The Angel of Hope's dope rope of Nope, I believe. Shout out to Hoku on that one. So the takedown was forestalled, but in the end, crit kickers secure their second takedown. They've got level 7s now. And it looks like Sonya's going to get another channel on top altar, which frees up Infinity Meme in mid to cap the first objective. Level 7's now online for Came From Behind. Mr. Hustler is going to relish the opportunity to get relatively easy stacks for their redemption. Dragonite with the armor shred will not last long. Infinity Meme finishing off the mid-fort wall with IE and friends getting through the bottom fort wall as well. That armor shred that we saw was thanks to the level 7 talent from the Hanzo sharpened arrowheads, auto attacks, and storm bow shots, reducing armor, I think, by 2 now? By 3. It was relatively recently changed. This game gets patched so frequently, I can't keep track, friends. Energized Cord. Oh, a great stun. Second stack on repeated offense. Mr. Hustler still taking a fair bit of damage from IE there. And they're going to have to be careful of the slowing sands once again. Mr. Hustler has finished off their level 1 redemption. One of the highest auto attack DPS in the game with that quest completed. But with heroic available, crit kickers are flexing their muscles a little bit. They've got heroics for the rest of the team as well. We see the Commandeer Odin popped immediately. They've also got Leap, Tranquility, Slowing Sands, and Nullius scouted on the flank there. But it's quick work on this fort with a full level lead and the heroic talent here. Crit kickers make quick work of the first structure. Objectives unlocking in the next 30 seconds. Do we see a rotation up to top? Mojo loses sight of the rest of crit kickers, and so they're going to play it safe. Another camp for top lane means that Came From Behind are going to have to pay a little bit more attention to these altars once again. Crit kickers found a relatively quick grab during that split objective moment in the early game. And they're in position to do a similar thing here. We've got 10s on both sides. It's Dragon's Arrow, Purification Salvo, Crystal Aegis, Last Rites, and Blessed Shield. If Nullius isn't careful, they could get one shot here. Checking in on bot lane. Godfred whipped into the wall there. Oh, all the damage onto Top Gun. They have to get Aegis. There's another heal. IE is the target, and they'll fall. Leap in from Nullius. That's a takedown onto Hanzo. Huckett in full retreat with Greek Freezer. I don't think they're going to make it out alive. Godfred in full chase. They get the double Stormbolt as well. The rotation from the off lane, turning it into a 5v4 in favor of the crit kickers. Mojo having to deal with the top lane bruiser camp push as well. Those bruisers got through the fort front wall. It's going to extend crit kicker's lead a little bit. Mojo chases pretty far onto the point here. Could die. Top Gun chasing down Travis Party. Mr. Hustler has arrived. It's 3v3. Nullius in trouble. Oh, the Last Rites does not come out. Purification Salvo does nothing, as it always does. Really need to buff that. What else do we have at level 13s? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even notice this. Godfred went for Haymaker. That's insane to me. But fair enough. Any of Came From Behind's heroes put out of position are solid kill targets outside of the Johanna. Another objective goes over to Crit Kickers. And likely with it, another fort. IE pops the Odin and is going to siege in top fort. Godfred slows Mojo's rotation in. And so, once again, we've got excellent split pressure around the map. Crit Kickers working on top lane with the Odin and mid lane with the DK. Nullius gets through most of the fort on top side. IE did the same. Time Walker's Pursuit gets the reveal and Came From Behind, but they've finished off the camp before an invasion is advisable. Level 13's on both sides, but it's a pretty big experience advantage for Crit Kickers. Very close to their 16s here. A Dragon's Arrow from out of vision, but Sonya has the leap available, and now Crit Kickers might get the collapse. Mojo in deep, they're definitely dead, right? Yeah, that's an instant death. Nullius maybe bit off a little bit more than they can chew. The Purification Salvo will connect, so offlaners traded. Jump interrupted, so Came From Behind are able to retreat. 1 for 1, that's a trade you're willing to make on the side of Came From Behind. Down in experience, that kill is definitely worth more than Crit Kickers. But once again, they take the advantage, take use of their advantage in top lane. The rotation from Came From Behind from bot to bot lane means that they run under the fort with time traps and secure another of the outer structures. '16's now online. Came From Behind almost a level and a half away from their 16s as well. Malthael, one of the more gankable offlaners, is going to have to pay even closer attention to the minimap now that they do not have a fort to retreat to. Their 1v1 against Nullius still very strong, but if Crit Kickers continue to play off-map, Nullius has leap available once again. Yeah, they'll leap out to safety. Came From Behind, committing all 5 heroes to top lane once again. I imagine that'll be the green light for Crit Kickers to get started on the bot bruiser camp. They'll do just that, amplifying the lane pressure that their periodic catapults are applying to bot lane with the bruiser camp as well. Reveal comes out on the siege camp. And we're just in a late game ring around the rosy. 16 on both sides now. Reservoir of Hope for Huckett. It's a big power spike for Oriel. Greek Freezer gets the reveal and the dismount. It is 5v4, however. They know this now. Nullius is here. They're in full retreat. Greek Freezer does not have Iron Skin. I don't know if Crit Kickers were aware. They opted not to go on the Sonya. Instead, they'll just take the siege camp set up for one of their own. Really heads up rotation. Mojo with Unraveling on them. Oh no. Instant death. There's the Blessed Shield onto 2. Travis party in retreat, but Greek Freezer has no damage behind them. They'll pop the Iron Skin. It's not going to be enough. Oh no, Huckett in a lot of trouble here. There's the stun. Instant death. Greek Freezer now in deep. Once again, another takedown. 3-0 in favor of Crit Kickers. They're going to pick up their third or fourth Dragon Knight. And with the Siege Camp in bot lane, I'd expect bot keep to be the target. All 4 of the core 4 setting up on the bot lane, while Sonya puts a little bit of pressure on mid-keep wall. Is just around the corner from Crit Kickers. They might be able to secure it here with the waves that they can pick up on the core. Godfred taking a lot of damage from Mr. Hustler. They're going to have to retreat. Nullius very low as well. They've got Storm talents now. Big Red Button. Rewind. Life Bloom is Serenity. Is the Tranquility upgrade. Composite Spear for Sonya at 20, so increased range on Spear. Very interesting choice for Nullius. An unexpected threat range. Lots of players are unfamiliar with how much further Sonya can spear in from. Big Red Button pop once again. It's a very safe sieging tool. They've got the Bruiser Camp pushing in top lane now. Tychus outranges the keep. And so they're happy to get just the safe siege damage here. Godfred standing in front. There's the stun, followed up by the immediate Aegis. Huckett gets out. Nullius misses with the spear, but the Blessed Shield goes wide as well. Mojo is here just to dissuade any further push. And about half of mid-keep goes down. They'll have another opportunity to get a vanilla push in about 50 seconds. I'd be surprised if it came from behind, closed the gap to 20 in that time. In the meantime, they'll get the rest of the map moving in their favor, steal away the bot siege camp, getting their top Bruiser camp pushing as well. And I imagine they'll set up a Build-A-Boss in bot lane with their own siege camp and the neutral Bruiser camp. Still a full level away from 20. Came from behind. Have to really turtle up here. Commandeer Odin coming back off cooldown in the next 5 seconds. A little bit of a mistiming on the Build-A-Boss. It'll end up being fine. I think it'll all even out once it hits a wave. And an easy objective grab. Once again, for Crit Kickers. Every Dragon Knight going in their favor. Nullius channels the objective. Unleashes a dead husband. The lore on this map is a little bit lost on me. Greek Freezer steps up quickly. Godfred will land the stun. They have to back out with the Iron Skin. Mojo and Mr. Hustler tending to the Dragon Knight, while Top Gun and Huckett try and help Greek Freezer on the bot lane push. DK walking straight through mid-keep directly onto core, and that should be the game, especially with the Phoenix going down. We still have Big Red Button up, and that'll do it. A masterful macro showing from Crit Kickers once again in Game 3. GG and well played. Oops, sorry friends. So there you have it. Crit Kickers, as mentioned, are the macro masters between these two teams. They show exactly how to split a team around the battleground. They're able to pick up a fair bit of experience, not only from their heroic takedowns, but also from their minion XP differential. A very close race for top damage. Mr. Hustler just ekes out ahead of IE, but Unfortunately, the takedown count kind of tells the tale, 11-2 in favor of crit kickers. And we can take a look at our builds here. See if there's anything out of the ordinary. I know nothing about Phoenix builds, so I'm going to assume this is a plenty good one. Relatively straightforward auto attack build for Mr. Hustler on Hanzo. Shrinking Vacuum for Greek Freezer at 16. I'm surprised. Not the 16 I am accustomed to seeing. Fair enough. Once again, the Unraveling from Infinity meme doing a whole lot of work for our friends in blue. Let's head back to our battleground selection and think about where we're headed for game number 2. No Braxis, no BOE. Yeah. I guess Tomb of the Spider Queen is probably their best choice if they continue to favor map pick. Looks like they disagree, though. Oh, I'm in the way. Let me get out of the way. So instead, we're headed to Alterac Pass for game number 4. This could be the final game in the series if crit kickers are able to continue and stifle Came From Behind with their macro pressure. And I find myself wondering if Came From Behind are going to make the adjustment in this game and handle the dragon in the room with Infinity Meme's Chromie. It's been putting in work for vision. It's been doing a lot of damage. It's a problem. I would expect to see a ban on it, but I was not part of the early game planning, and so if they've got their strategy that they want to stick to, can't blame them. They did far more planning for this matchup than I did. As we head into the draft, I expect the Stitches and Stukov bans once again from crit kickers. We'll see how Came From Behind address the threats that crit kickers have brought. The Haka once again. Stukov, yep, okay. So crit kickers don't want to deal once again with the threat of that double support. We'll see if Came From Behind are going to adjust for the Chromie ban here. Nope, sticking with the Anduin. Alright, so first pick is going to be Junkrat. Okay, Junkrat instead of Chromie. Interesting. I'm surprised. They do very similar things, and Chromie has been putting in a lot of work for crit kickers. So Came From Behind, managed to dodge the Chromie through no fault of their own. Nubrek and Brightwing. Or Came From Behind. Surprised that neither Tychus nor Falstad showed up in our first round of picks. Seeing it here from IE and pairing it with the Johanna. I believe this is the first chance they've had to play the Johanna. Next ban for Came From Behind. I'd expect it to be an offlaner. Nullius has looked pretty proficient on all of the heroes thus far. It's going to be the Blaze ban. One of the answers to the Pyroblast, perhaps setting up for another Kale Foss choice. And there's the Falstad ban. All right. So no global available or came from behind, unless they want to get real freaky and pick up the stage dive ETC. Next two choices, they need an offlaner as well as some damage. We'll see how they look to round out their Alterac draft. Jaina and Nova. What? Sure, absolutely. I believe this is not their first time on Nova this season. Oriel and Hogger picked up. Hogger, an excellent offlaner for the Battleground. We'll see if Mojo picks the Malthael once again. It would put Came From Behind in a very low HP paradigm across all 5 members of their team, with Anubarak having, I believe, the lowest HP pool of any of the tank heroes. Ragnaros instead. Still a very squishy front line. So let's think about these drafts. Rag and Jaina are excellent wave clear. Nova and Anubarak are awful wave clear. Tychus, Junkrat, Johanna, Hogger, all great wave clear. So Crit Kickers have the tools they need to run Came From Behind around the map once again. I'm always curious to see what a Nova pick can do. It is not a hero that I see with any frequency in NGS or in my own Storm League games. Maybe it's the secret sauce they need. But I think it's going to be a tough uphill battle for Came From Behind. Crit Kickers looking very well positioned to close it out here in Game 4. So let's get into it and introduce our teams potentially for the last time. On the left in blue, we've got Crit Kickers, i.e. on Tychus once again, Godfred on Johanna, Travis Party playing Oriel, Nullius on Hogger, and Infinity Meme playing Junkrat. To the right in red, trying to take us to a Game 5, we've got Came From Behind, Top Gun on Nova, Huckett playing Brightwing, Greek Freezer on Anubarak, Mr. Hustler on Jaina, and Mojo on the Ragnaros. You've got Fingers of Frost for Jaina at level 1. We've got the Living Meteor quest, Shifting Meteor at level 1 for Mojo. Top Gun taking a fair bit of damage from Nullius there. It's going to draw the phase shift from Huckett. Jaina throws their spells at the wave, and it's not quite dead. So once again, Crit Kickers get the advantage on this first wave. Came From Behind, zoning Godfred from the rotation, but IE was able to make it up without any trouble. Crit Kickers on the waves, right on time. Nullius on the camp as well. Infinity Meme going to help out with a little bit of scouting thanks to the steel trap and some frag grenades as well. Phase shift comes in to save Mojo, taking a fair bit of damage there in bot lane. On top side, IE and Top Gun trading back and forth a bit. A relatively advantaged position for Came From Behind to get a clear on this objective. Mr. Hustler falling very low on mana already. But they've got the push advantage in mid now that the blue knolls are cleared. They're going to use that opportunity to try and get a rotation onto IE. They're playing safe on Mount. So no real threat. Level 4s on both sides. We've got Hold Your Ground once again. Oh, Infinity Meme taking so much damage. That's first blood. Top Gun falling low, but they get the phase shift in time from Huckett. So came from behind, finding the first takedown for game number 4. Level 4 talents. We've got a few different quests. Oriel looking to ramp up her Angel of Hope's Dope Rope of Nope with the repeater defense. Another takedown from Came From Behind. Mr. Hustler and Top Gun finding IE staying a little bit too long there in top lane. Nullius works on the Hogger camp once again. Wow, Came From Behind have to commit 3 heroes to getting it clear in a timely fashion. Of course, we could see Greek Freezer try and steal away the objective with their trait beetles. That is a unique opportunity that Came From Behind have open to them. Instead, Greek Freezer is going to help Came From Behind, committing all 4 of their core 4 to clearing out this mid lane, which gives IE license to keep working on this top fort wall. A fair bit of damage thrown onto the Tychus, but Travis Party is in range for the save. Level 7s on both sides. We've opted for Peekaboo at 7 rather than Critical Mist. A little bit more of a popular choice most of the time. And once again, spread thin, Came From Behind are losing structures on both sides. Greek Freezer in onto IE, but no damage follow-up. They're going to have to retreat here. Mr. Hustler finishing off the last of those prison guards. So a little bit of an experience advantage for Came From Behind, in fact, thanks to those hero takedowns. Nullius in position right on time for the siege camp once again. And Hogger is spinning and off to the races. Came From Behind are here in a timely manner. And Nullius wasn't the most efficient on that clear, so Came From Behind actually making up some time here on that camp disparity. Oh. Excellent use of the Steed Charge at level 7 for an easy escape. Mr. Hustler potentially getting stalled. Oh, the frag launcher does not come out in time. So an early objective channel for crit kickers. Heroics relatively even, a little bit slower for Came From Behind. IE lays into Greek Freezer with the minigun, and they're able to channel the objective with 7 seconds remaining. Mojo showing in bot lane, they're going to collect the last bit of experience they need for heroics of their own, but it means they're a little bit late to this rotation. It's 5v4, but that's why you've got Cocoon. Godfred gets the Blessed Shield onto 2. They have to back up. Mr. Hustler and Huckett in retreat, as is Greek Freezer. The Riptire zones pretty effectively there, and Infinity Meme is going to get interrupted. Mojo gets the channel interrupt. They've got one more W. I'm surprised that we haven't seen the Molten Core come out. IE gets in the bush, tries to get a little push value there. Came From Behind, have recharged their resources. Oh, Greek Freezer over terrain in deep onto IE and Travis Party. Johanna very low in the back, but the objective is still being channeled. Huckett isn't able to stall it, and that'll be first objective going over to crit kickers. Greek Freezer phase shift to 2, and the retreat is good. Crit kickers managed to secure the objective with some effective zoning and timely interrupts. We've got Blessed Shield. They don't want to use it if they don't have to. So they'll save it. Jaina goes down nonetheless. And that's Crit Kicker's first takedown. Lava Wave will mitigate much of the pushing power that the top lane objective gets. In bot lane, we'll see Mojo get into the Molten Core to preserve some of their fort HP. Top fort still goes down. Once the Jaina dies, Came From Behind have absolutely no wave clear available to them beyond Ragnaros. Oh, Huckett in a lot of trouble. There's the Blessed Shield, but they've got the Blink. They're able to retreat, but they don't have the Pixie Dust. And so Riptire chases him down, gets another takedown. We're tied 2-2 now in favor of Crit Kickers. Level 13's just around the corner. Godfred knocked off the horse, but they're able to escape with their Iron Skin. IE in a lot of trouble here. There's the triple tap. Godfred goes down. IE could be next, but they're able to dodge most. Oh! Right at the last moment, Mr. Hustler connects with the Cone of Cold. And with the... Oh, Nullius. Nullius is in a lot of trouble. They're going to make it out alive. Because Hogger, just like Deathwing, is permanently unstoppable. So Cone of Cold can get a lot of damage with the level 7 and 13 synergy that Mr. Hustler has opted for. Iced Flows at 7, granting cooldown reduction. Icy Veins at 13, granting additional cooldown reduction. And so you can kind of double dip. Shifting Meteor complete for Mojo. They've continued with the full Living Meteor build at 4 and 7. No 13 yet for Mojo. Came From Behind, get the rotation. Crit Kicker's a little slow on that boss grab. And so Came From Behind, managed to snag the double boss. Their head and experience, they're behind on structures, but this push could be what they need. Oh no, a way far engagement. Greek Freezer goes down and the Anubarak goes over the wall and eats a polymorph, or I'm sorry, eats a stun for their trouble. So neither top fort nor bottom fort likely to fall with Anubarak going down there. That is the downside of the glass cannon composition. Nova bribing that camp means it'll be back much sooner. Covert mission at level 4. One of the only bribe talents left in the game. Certainly the only one that offers cooldown reduction on mercenary camp timing. Neck and neck towards the level 16 talent tier. A little bit more passive experience for Crit Kickers. Bot fort finished off. So, an even rate of passive experience gain now for both sides. Mr. Hustler steps up to get as much clear as they can on these knolls in the early going. But with 4 heroes committed to the mid lane, Crit Kickers get an easy clear or grab on that first objective. You see Lava Wave for top lane. So Came From Behind won't have to worry about that lane for quite some time. Oh, Godfred eats a lot of damage there. Numbing Blast gives Mr. Hustler some additional CC. Nullius is taking a lot of damage here, as is Godfred. Greek Freezer low, Nullius low, but it's Anubarak who falls first. Travis Party gets the whip away. Mr. Hustler in full retreat now. Top Gun missing the snipe. It's going to reset their baseline quest. Oh, Mr. Hustler roots, and they get the takedown onto Infinity Meme. They're able to dodge the Total Mayhem, but no one from Came From Behind could get the channel on the objective. They get a kill on Nullius on the way out. Does Mojo have one more living meteor? They do. Travis Party has no energy available. And the Lava Wave in top lane securing the top fort. So came from behind with those takedowns. Are going to likely have a relatively easy time clearing this objective from Crit Kickers. Is Mojo dead? Mojo might be dead. There's the phase shift. There's the double, and there's the blink. Okay, big saves, big saves. IE wrapped up, as is the Oriole. Perfect cocoon. And now Oriole's in so much trouble. Ooh, 2 more takedowns. 4 came from behind. They really want to take us to game 5. They are not scared to take these fights to Crit Kickers. Nullius trying to push out the mid wave here, but if they stay too long, Top Gun and Mr. Hustler could have their number. Can Top Gun dismount him? Yeah. Can't stop the unstoppable, however. And we're a full level up for Came From Behind. They don't hit structures particularly hard with the Jaina Nova, but they do threaten an invade pretty well. I don't know how many charges of bribe we've got. We've got 3. So they'll steal away the camp. It is going to give Crit Kickers the opportunity to get their camp again before Came From Behind. Do you have to... I don't know how the text works. If a camp is defeated entirely with bribe. Yeah, I would have loved to see them bribe 2 and just kill 1. For the timing. Just to keep it even. And the heroic experience is really carrying Came From Behind. Though I'll say Lava Wave is a really awesome ability, and I love playing against Ragnaros. 25,000 experience for Mojo. 4,000 more minion experience than Crit Kickers in total. And just around the corner from the Storm Talent tier, they're posturing around boss. Mr. Hustler is going to pick up the last couple of experience globes here in mid for their Storm Talents. And that'll set them up for another double boss play. With our Storm Talents, what do we have? Speedy Dragon? Invisible Friends. Okay. They'll finish off the mid fort. Fair enough. Nullius could die, especially with the slow. Yeah, Nullius is dead. Travis Party... Oh, no, it's not enough. All right, now Mojo chasing onto IE. Godfred is in range for appeal. But on the top side, Mr. Hustler's chasing down Travis. A great boop from Infinity Meme. The triple trap upgrade, fast reload, means that they get one more opportunity for the triple tap. It's on full cooldown now. And they won't get the reset. Looks like they're not going to go for the double boss play, instead contenting themselves with a single boss for bot lane and objective progress on the top side of the battleground. Godfred will be able to clean up some more of the experience here in bot lane, bringing Crit Kickers a little bit closer towards their Storm Talents as well. We've got 7 stacks on the Reservoir of Hope. Only 3 stacks thus far on Repeated Offense. So still a fair bit of progress to be made for that level 4. We've also got 64 stacks on the Taste for Explosions level 4 quest for Infinity Moon. Double Lava Wave. A great way to prepare your lanes for the next objective push. We've got Storm Talents on both sides. Big Red Button, Radiating Faith, Shield of Hope, Secret stash for Hogger, surprising, as well as cannonballs for Infinity Moon. They've got a boss and all 5 heroes committed to top lane. Came from behind, want to get this top keep down if they can. Bot keep wall already took a fair bit of damage before the objective from their early boss steal. Or grab, I should say. And so they're threatening both top and bot keeps. They would really like to get both of these keeps down before they make an attempt on core. IE still has a little bit more juice in the big red button. Bot keeps still alive. Nilius getting through the objective, but it's going to fall. So all 3 keeps go down. Objective still up. Came from behind. Oh, Greek Freezer needs to burrow out to safety. There is the phase shift as well. They're in full retreat. But I think taking down all 3 keeps is plenty enough siege or came from behind. It is exceptionally challenging to come back from this position on Alterac in particular. The constant Reaver pressure builds up such massive waves. And so came from behind have all the luxury all the time they want. They are at their luxury to hunt for kills, which is really what their composition is best built to do. Next objective will spawn on the bot side. Crit Kickers got their mid clear a little bit ahead of Came From Behind. Came From Behind could also threaten a backdoor. Oh, a great engage from Godfred. Oh my goodness, it's a takedown. Came From Behind survived with a lot more members than I figured they would. Only losing 1, and now Godfred is in a lot of trouble. They'll be able to escape with their level 7 Steed Charge. Mojo taking a fair bit of damage there. Nilius gets the channel here. What a great rotation from Crit Kickers. Came From Behind. Definitely grouped up a little bit too much there for the level 20 Johanna Radiating Faith. It's kind of like throwing a mosh pit. We've got a backdoor threat. Greek Freezer scouted out by Nullius. Mr. Hustler dismounts. Are they going to be okay? They're going to be okay. And now Mr. Hustler leading the charge here. They get the slow onto IE. Oh no. Jaina way too far ahead of their team. They've taken a lot of damage. The blink heal will save most of them. IE falling low. There's the Hortipult in. Mojo in retreat, as is Mr. Hustler. It looks like Came From Behind will get out alive. Alright. So, what did we commit? We committed Cocoon and Water Elemental on the side of Came From Behind, with Crit Kickers using everything but Commandeer Odin. So we'll see how the defense goes. Jaina has a lot of wave clear, as does Ragnaros. They've still got the Molten Core available. Would love to see them pop it a little bit earlier than they have in the past, like right now. There's the Lava Wave. Cuts the wave completely. Travis Party down to about half HP, and Mr. Hustler pops the Water Elemental once again. Mojo into the Molten Core. It'll keep the mid-keep at about half HP, while Crit Kickers transition all 5 to the bot lane. That does it for Big Red Button. Godfred out of vision once again. They're looking for Mr. Hustler. Great invisible friends from Huckett. Keeps the Jaina safe. Another Lava Wave for top lane. i.e. putting a little bit more damage with the overkill thanks to their level 13-16 combination armor-piercing rounds and spray and pray. And it's a slow siege from Crit Kickers. They want this keep. Top keep went down. They want to secure a second one. They'll do just that. We've got slows from Water Elemental once again. They catch up to Infinity Meme. It's not going to be enough. So a single keep advantage now for Came From Behind. Bosses up on both sides. I believe Crit Kickers were a little bit faster to theirs. Core's going to be fine. The mid camp does apply Armor Shred to the core. So I think Crit Kickers have to go back to defend. Especially with the dual pressure of the siege camp and the boss. The question becomes, can Crit Kickers finish first? There's the Lava Wave. Greek Freezer and Top Gun. The base race has begun. And it looks like Crit Kickers have the edge here. They've got more core damage. They got onto the core faster, and that'll do it. I'm sorry, Came From Behind. They're on Crit Kickers' core. They secure the win, and we're going to a Game 5. Well done to both of our teams. GG and well played once again. I wasn't sure if the Anubarak Jaina Nova was going to have the sauce, but in the end, they made it work. They got some critical team fight wins, set up some excellent late game rotations. Nope, wrong team. Correct team. 2-2 is the score. So let's take a look at our post-game stats. A very low takedown game. 9 takedowns for Came From Behind. Only 5 on the side of Crit Kickers. And, oh my god, 42,000 XP soaked by Mojo on Ragnaros. Lava Wave is really OP. It was exactly what Came From Behind needed to make their composition run. The minions were their biggest enemy, and so having Ragnaros able to kill 2 waves worth after the Storm Talent tier was a big boon for our red team. And here we are, getting ready for Game 5. Oh, I'm still in the way. Let's get me out of the way. 3-hour cast, 3-hour cast. Yes, it is a 3-hour cast. We're getting there, friends. It is a long one nonetheless. I also saw a fair number of our friends talking about how the team logos look outdated. I'll say that the team logos that I have on stream are the ones that are up on the website. I don't know if the ones on the website are outdated or not, but that's all I know, friends. All right. What are our maps left? We've got Cursed. We've got Infernal. We've got Tomb. Whew. I wonder whose map choice it is. If the map choice continues to be the preference, I think Crit Kickers take us to Cursed Hollow. And I'm wrong. They would rather go to Tomb of the Spider Queen. Fair enough. I have no idea if this battleground favors one team or the other, frankly. This has been a really back and forth game. Really back and forth series. A great way to close out the Season 18 Division A Finals. Let them know in chat if you've been enjoying their efforts. I know they've been fighting tooth and nail. Both teams showing a lot of excellent team fighting prowess. We should be off to the races here shortly for our final draft in the series. Headed to Tomb of the Spider Queen, as chosen by Crit Kickers. I said it at the very beginning of the broadcast, came from behind, one of the hardest teams to lock down in draft. They've played 47 heroes thus far this season. And that flexibility really coming to the fore in Game 4. Bans still largely the same. We see Dahaka and Stukov. There's the Anduin. And this has been Stitches every other game. It's going to be Malthael instead. Okay. Interesting, interesting. So first pick available. You wouldn't first pick Stitches. That would be crazy, right? They're going to first pick Stitches. All right. Fair enough. It's their first opportunity to play Stitches. They're not going to let Crit Kickers pick it away. Crit Kickers have played it thus far this season. I'd expect Tychus Brightwing. That's been the most common first rotation from Crit Kickers in second pick.
For the frozen throne.
Instead, locking in the Anubarak and the Falstad. I think that makes a lot of sense. Anubarak, an excellent response to Stitches with his ability to block hooks with his trait beetles and interrupt Gorge with Cocoon. There's Junkrat and Brightwing. Alright, Crit Kickers. They're probably going to ban another offlaner here. Unless they want to ban the Tychus. They have been picking one and banning the other. They'll do just that. Okay. So Mojo will have their pick of any offlaner they might like. We see the Maiev ban come out. Interesting choice with the Junkrat Stitches showing. Those heroes both playing from really far away. Maiev really looking for the Phantom Knives resets. Next two picks are here from Crit Kickers. If it's not Chromie, I'm crazy. We see the Malfurion pick. I'm crazy. There's Leoric. Samuro picked up by Mojo. Relatively low wave clear offlaner for a wave clear intensive battleground. Final pick for came from behind. Imperious. Okay, that explains the Maiev ban. The Samuro clones and the double melee in the core 4. Last choice for Crit Kickers. I mean, Infinity Meme's gotta pick Chromie here, right? Like, they've had so much success with Chromie thus far in the series. I'd be shocked. Her ability to control around turn-ins. Oh my goodness. If it's not broke, no reason to stick with it. Let's take a look at our last draft as our teams load in for Game 5, the final game of Division A this season. The double front line for Came From Behind might make it a little tough for Anubarak to step up. I hate how much or how little wave clear Came From Behind have. Like, Imperious is not what they needed from a wave clear perspective. If it just comes down to the map play, once again, Crit Kickers have set themselves up for success. but came from behind, have shown how impactful those late game team fights can be. We'll see which team is able to clinch it here for our final game in the series and become Division A champions. Here on the left in blue, the #1 seed, we've got Crit Kickers. IE on Falstad, Godfred on Anubarak, Travis Party playing Malfurion, Nullius on Leoric, and Infinity Meme on Gul'dan. Trying to right the wrongs of last season, came from behind looking for their division championship. It's Mr. Hustler on Junkrat, Huckett on Brightwing, Top Gun on Imperius, Mojo on Samuro, and Greek Freezer playing Stitches. First pick, Stitches. That's confidence. What do we have? We've got Hunger for More. So move speed for Greek Freezer at level 1 as they collect globes. Pursuit of Flame for Infinity Meme. And auto attack build for IE with Frequent Flyer. Top Gun opting for Burn the Impure. So not the recently buffed Impaling Light, the Celestial Charge talent at level 1. There's the first Celestial Charge with a fair bit of CC follow-up. Oh no, Infinity Meme booped in Mr. Hustler with a great concussion mine, but Infinity Meme will make it out alive. Whew. Some serious back and forth play there. Godfred interrupts the Celestial Charge. Travis Party putting his opponents to sleep there with the Emerald Dream at level 1. Another Celestial Charge onto IE. Godfred taking a fair bit of damage here. And we've got Infinity Meme and Travis Party breaking off to work on their Bruiser camp here. Mojo having as much fun as any Samuro player has, just clicking on Leoric. It's going to force Nullius to Hearth, put them a little bit behind on their rotations. Mojo also going to get the first 9 gems in for Came From Behind. Godfred caught by the hook, and we can see why the Stitches bans have been coming out throughout the evening. Greek Freezer seemingly with a sixth sense for where Godfred might be. A fly down from IE. I think it was out of vision given the lane position there. So Travis Party and IE will be able to push out this neutral mercenary camp while Came From Behind get all their gems turned in on top side. A quick 39 banked up for them. I would love to see IE push with this. I think that would be hugely impactful. As is... Nullius is just kind of get beat up by Mojo a bit, and his clones will stop any real threat on the buildings. I think it's going to open up the opportunity for Came From Behind to get all the gems they need turned in. Greek Freezer has the last 5. Top Gun finding IE with the Celestial Charge, and that's first objective in favor of Came From Behind. Level 7's just around the corner from them. They're a little bit ahead on experience thanks to the heroic takedowns and a little bit more minion experience as well. We've got Boom Pow at level 4 from Mr. Hustler. More concussion mines more often. Kind of a menace for Infinity Meme. And it's a full 4-hero commitment to the top lane. On bot side, Nullius and Mojo continue to duke it out. Boop onto Travis, but it doesn't get them over the wall. There's the hook onto Godfred. A root onto Stitches. And it is a bounce house with how many concussion mines we're seeing out of Mr. Hustler. Boom Pow at 4. Bogged down at 7. So heroes are slowed. There's the stun onto Godfred from Top Gun. About half of the fort, i.e. falling low. There's the polymorph as well. Mr. Hustler does not have the concussion mine, so IE is going to get out to safety. A great bit of damage onto mid fort, down to about half HP. Top fort wall goes down. Mid still in a good position. IE flies down to bot. Mojo scouts it, however. And now Crit Kicker is in the unenviable position of having a vision disadvantage into a Stitches composition. IE looking for the turn in on bot side. Mojo gets the interrupt thanks to the clone. Oh, IE sidestepping that concussion mine. That was a important little wiggle. Infinity Meme gets 9 of their gems turned in on the top side. So 8 more required for Crit Kickers. Recruiser staying mounted up, continuing to threaten with that displacement. IE scouted down in bot lane. Mojo taking a fair bit of damage here. Here come the rest of came from behind. And they've got heroics of their own. We've got Riptire, Blink Heal, Gorge. Speaking of... Alright, looks like Crit Kickers will get out alive. Nothing yet for Top Gun on Imperius. But Bladestorm, that makes perfect sense. Nilius will get their gems turned in. On the other side, we've got Cocoon, Gust, Tranquility, Entomb, and Horrify. Oh, Mr. Hustler potentially in a lot of trouble. They couldn't get the concussion mine off. An immediate takedown. The Horrify secures it. Doing that thing where I follow the offlaners around. Alright. So that's all of the wave clear that came from behind have in their composition. That's a problem during these Webweaver phases. I'd expect Crit Kickers to get a lot done with this top objective. They're through the fort front wall before they are able to put out any real defense. There's the kidnap with Wrath of the Angiris. IE drops 34 gems. Oh no, Godfred gorged as well. They'll be able to pick up some of those gems, but they're going to fall thanks to a great Celestial Charge from Top Gun. And, man, Stitches, what are you going to do? Am I right, friends? Bot fort front wall goes down, takes a little bit of damage itself, but came from behind, still definitely in a solid lead, especially after that massive economy hit that Crit Kickers took with the IE takedown, dropping 34 gems. That is a lot to lose. There's the Gust and the Horrify. Right Wing gets the phase shift. Greek Freezer able to pop the Shambling Horror and escape, making them immune to slows. Gorge still available. Level 13's now online. Stitches has a far longer threat range. They'll find Godfred. There's the Gorge. Oh, a little bit early on the Celestial Charge. Top Gun tries to zone the rest of the team, but they might have bitten off more than they can chew. Puckett gets the save, and there's the Celestial Charge, this time landing true onto the Anubarak. Riptire tries to chase down onto the bug. One more polymorph, but it looks like Godfred makes it out. Excellent wiggling. The W build. Oh, IE booped back in. They still have the barrel roll. Top fort falls. IE booped again. Greek Freezer perhaps looking for one more root, or hook. Mid fort, of course, went down. It had already taken a lot of damage, so first two structures fall in favor of Came From Behind. Got another auto attack build for Leoric. Really heads up positioning on their Hearthstone. They don't want to get hooked. So positioning behind the fort was the right move. What else do we have at 13? Top Gun opting for Pathetic Mortals. So reduces damage and movement speed. Alright, fair enough. Mojo gonna get 28 gems turned in here. Experience definitely still favors Came From Behind. Level 13 means that Junkrat is now basically a global hero, thanks to Ripper Air. They found Godfred. Oh, and Travis Party as well. They get the Wrath of the Angiris onto IE. The Gust is good enough. IE makes it out alive. Mojo wants to chop him down, but Falstad lives to tell the tale. Tranquility and Gust, enough to save them. Riptire and Wrath of the Angiris popped in that team fight. Came From Behind a little bit closer on the turn-in. Nullius got most of their gems turned in. Here's another potential... Oh, Nullius committing a little too far ahead. There's the Horrify. IE gets the kill onto the Brightwing. Gorge onto Infinity Meme means that Gul'dan is in a lot of trouble. They can drain life for a little bit of sustain. Mojo falling low here. They're going to be able to Shikuchi their way to safety, however. On the top side, Infinity Meme goes down. Greek Freezer taking a fair bit of damage. IE dodges that boop. Top Gun taking a lot of damage. There's the hook in. IE in a lot of trouble. Mojo onto him. Godfred's the first to fall. There's the stun onto Top Gun. And another trade. Nullius has respawned. But in the end, the takedowns favor Came From Behind. Currently 7-3 in takedowns, with a talent tier advantage to boot. They'll turn in, set up for the next Webweaver phase, the third in favor of the red team. And their waves are really well prepped in both top and mid. Although Crit Kickers pushing that out will alleviate some of the pressure from the Webweavers. And now it's just a waiting game. Godfred already used their Burrow charge. Greek Freezer has a target in mind. But does not connect. There's the stun onto Mr. Hustler. The Gorge from Greek Freezer catches Nullius. They still have the Entomb available. They'll catch 3 in the Entomb, but 1 escapes with the Wrath of the Angiris. Riptire lands onto 2. IE dodges another Celestial Charge. Gust is available. Top Gun will fall. Huckett is the next. Godfred secures the Cocoon, but they don't have any damage to follow up. They have to go back and defend their base. Mid-keep fell. IE uses Gust just to deal with the minions. I think that makes a lot of sense, honestly. It saves their bot keep from a lot of punishment. Mr. Hustler will be able to secure a quick siege camp for Came From Behind. And Crit Kickers have the opportunity to turn in. We see Godfred headed for the boss. I think Infinity Meme showed on the wave. IE makes the rotation in. Travis Party split from the team. Greek Freezer is here. Oh no, they don't have their healer. They're going to have to back up. Infinity Meme gorged once again. And this is all she wrote for the Gul'dan. An excellent rotation from Mojo to zone Travis Party off of the boss. Means it came from behind, secure another takedown, and the boss steal. Samuro really coming in clutch. Both games we've seen it. Mojo putting an excellent show on with the Blaze Master. So that's boss for came from behind while Crit Kickers get mid lane moving with the Bruiser camp. They're going to have to deal with bot lane siege camp as well. Nullius getting the gems turned in to help mitigate this boss push a bit, but I think top keep is a foregone conclusion. Especially with the Storm talent here, right around the corner from came from behind. What do we have from Greek Freezer? It's Master Hooker. Healing reduction and cooldown reduction every time he hits a hero. Alright, so boss taken care of. Still about a level and a quarter for Crit Kickers before they secure Storm talents of their own. Their objective won't get any structure damage, but it was never their goal. They just wanted to forestall the potential endgame that came from behind were threatening with the boss. And we've got a little bit of a sneaky bush. Greek Freezer looks for the blind hook, but it does not connect. And this is where Crit Kickers are in a really rough spot. Greek Freezer, a major threat. They can manufacture a pick at any time. Looks for the hook onto Nullius, does not quite land. Range just a little short. And came from behind just about at their next turn-in. Huckett and Mr. Hustler will be able to get the last few gems turned in while Mojo procs the Bruiser camp. Crit Kickers might be able to get top lane pushed out, but I don't know that they're going to have the opportunity to secure Storm talents before the Web Weavers arrive. Godfrey dismounting here in mid lane. They dodge the hook. Okay, Top Gun's still mounted. They'll get stunned. Alright, full retreat. Crit Kickers don't get caught before the objective spawns, but they don't have Storm talents either. They've got one keep left. And this could be the ultimate push. Came from behind, making the final push towards core. Oh, Infinity Beam just barely dodges the hook. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Dark Circle for Gul'dan. He's been the target of most of the Gorges. We've also got Silence and Tomb. That's a big power spike, as is the... Okay, there's the Silence. Into the Fear, but the phase shift comes in. Top Gun onto Godfred in the back. Nullius booped in. Mojo falling low. There's the Kidnap onto IE. They committed everything trying to get the Stitches kill, and they did not. Core is taking damage. The heroes are fighting, but Nullius and Godfred can't help their teammates. Their catapults dealing critical damage here. Travis Party goes down off screen, and the core is likely to fall next. Infinity Meme is the best hero for cutting through the HP, but Mojo connected, as is the rest of Came From Behind, and that's it. GG. They take it in 5. Came From Behind are your Division A champions. Fantastic game. Fantastic series. Both teams very evenly matched, but in the end, it was the Stitches that made the difference. The first game, Came From Behind had access to it. They first pick it and manufacture pick after pick for the series win. Take a look at our post-game stats here. 10 takedowns to 5. Once again, not a very high takedown game, but the power plays that Came From Behind had at their disposal was enough for them to leverage their advantages into lots and lots of turn-ins and structure damage. So they are your Div A champs. Really well played. I'll see if they're... what? Oh, there it is. I'll see if they're available for a post-game interview. A very exciting showing from them. Really well played. Who was that just won? Came from behind? Yes. Looks like we will have an interview here. So let me just get us prepped for that. Fantastic showing. They were on the back foot a number of different times in the series, but came from behind, stayed true to their name, and clutched it out. So let's get over to our interview. Looks like we're going to be... looks like we are joined by Huckett from Came From Behind. GG, well played. What a series. How is the team feeling after that Game 5 nail-biter?
Well, believe it or not, they are all posting championship memes right now.
Perfect, perfect.
I'm getting ping, 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 ping. I'll have to look at them after this interview.
Absolutely. So Game 5, first game y'all had access to Stitches. You sent it in the first pick. I was skeptical.
Yeah,
but
I know, right?
I was wrong. It was exactly what you guys needed. Has that been a big pick for y'all this season? I only saw a couple of games on it.
We do not usually pick it first, and usually things get out of hand before it's a good pick. But this time they banned it 4 times, and we were getting a little stir crazy. So we just went for it. Because I don't know if you know, but the last time we played them on Tomb, they had Stitches, and they whooped us good.
Yeah, I managed to catch that series. That was a far more one-sided series, but this one, man, you would never know that was the number 1 seed against the number 7 seed. You guys were so back and forth. Pulling out the double support on Towers of Doom looked fantastic. Got to see the Kel'Thuzad special.
Well, we think of Uther as a tank. When the way they play it, there's no healing.
Absolutely.
Pretty much.
Well, fair enough. I mean, they got a lot of trait value from their armor. They were frequently in position. I think Top Gun plays that, right?
Yes.
Top Gun.
We have a couple guys who play it, but yeah.
Putting himself in position to be the target, live through it all with the Stukov healing, and then turn it around with the D-Storms. I'll also say Mojo on Samuro in both the Towers game and this Tomb game made some pretty big plays on the Samuro.
Yeah, so Samuro is situational for us. I shouldn't give it all away, but we won, so hopefully we're moving up. But whenever he's up against Leo, he plays Samuro, and it hasn't failed us yet. And they kept picking Leo early, even though they had the last pick. So we got to match up our solo laner, and I think that made a huge difference.
It definitely made a difference in the laning phase and in the late game team fights as well. In the Towers game, Mojo was able to chop through a couple different backline members over a Sapper Camp invade, and then in the late game here, secured the boss steal by zoning the Malfurion rotation.
All right.
That was
he was very excited.
That
very
was
excited about that.
Such a huge
and made
play.
sure that even if we didn't see it, that we knew. He was like, I zoned out the Malfurion. He's basically Leroy Jenkins on this team. He's always going in.
Perfect.
Deep as he can.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, Greek Freezer looked amazing on the Stitches. Mr. Hustler looked great on the Junkrat. The Bounce House build with all of the boops made a lot of difference, especially into the Gul'dan. I was surprised to see Crit Kickers opt for Gul'dan rather than the Chromie, which they had so much success with.
Yeah, Chromie was tough.
I'm just curious to hear how you feel about the current balanced state of Chromie's level 20 unraveling talent. Think it's fair?
I'm not even sure what it is. I don't play Chromie. What?
Minus 50 spell armor.
Oh.
It's
Is that
why-
on the loop or on the sand?
It's on the sands. It's why you guys, every time you got caught in sands 20, you
Yeah.
instantly die.
I did not like that at all. Because I was Ariel that game. I was like, I'm trying to hit R, and they were gone.
Instantly. Yeah.
No Crystal Aegis for me.
I think they really need to change that talent. It's really, really strong. So there you have it. You talked about it before the series when we were in the map ban phase. You were looking for redemption from Season 18's early exit from the postseason. It's got to feel really good to be the Division A champions this time around.
It really does. I can't wait to see our trophies. And if they don't send trophies, I'm going to have them made because the team expects them.
They will send pins. I've got a Grand Finals champ pin here, but I don't think there are any trophies. But the pins are nice.
Right.
I promise you, this is a nice pin.
Excellent.
All right.
I'll wear it every day.
It's been a long series. It's been a long night. I'm sure you want to get back and celebrate with your team. Before you do, the floor is yours for any shout outs you want to give.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out to each guy individually. Hustler's always been good all season. Top Gun's Imperious was amazing, and Mojo's offlaning, you can't beat it. And Greek Freezer, even though they had all